Hello there, my friend, and welcome to the Travel Inspired Podcast. We are your hosts, Rob Kerri Stuart, coming to you from the CMV studio in beautiful Windermere, Florida. This is episode number 156, and very timely information as we are headed to Europe.
Yeah, we were just looking at our travel schedule this year, and it has gotten crazy. Not just the number of trips, but the number of flights required for those trips.
So we're going to Europe in March, and then Miami, Alaska, California in May, Sandals in June, Montana Dude Ranch in July.
Yeah, but then we go on a cruise in September with a group. We have travel conferences in October and November, and we're probably going to travel somewhere for the holidays on a cruise. Okay, I didn't tell you that.
Okay, can we
This is new news.
Okay, can we just stay home for the month of December?
No.
Give me that
Okay,
month.
maybe, but maybe for Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Now, to be clear, we are not bragging. Travel is our business. But this year, we are just flying more than any year I can think of ever. And for 2 trips specifically, these were multi-city flight itineraries.
Yeah, and not just flying from Orlando to Europe with maybe one connection and whatever, but it's just crazy how creative we had to be for our flights so far this year.
So before we get into that, here's our first tip. There really is no debate between getting either TSA PreCheck or global entry. The first is $85 for 5 years versus $100 for 5 years for global entry.
Yeah, and we've had TSA PreCheck for years, probably about 10, and we keep trying to get global entry. We just can't get the appointments to line up with our travel schedule. It's super annoying.
I know. But until then, we use Mobile Passport, which is a free app, but not quite as fast as global entry because it's a different line.
Yeah, but it is still way faster than the regular line when it works. When it works.
It is a time saver for sure. So we're also going to share how we use personally our credit card miles, both earning them and redeeming them.
So for travel, we use our Capital One Venture One credit card that earns 1.25 miles for every dollar.
So we're just like you. We try to maximize our dollars and our miles earned. And for most spend categories, we use that card. So a $100 purchase gets us 125 miles.
And there are so many experts out there on miles, and they will show you which credit cards are the best to get for you. We are not those experts, but we are regular users just like you.
I'll say the Points Guy is a great site to learn from, and that's where you're going to find strategies on which cards to get to maximize the mile you earn, but also maximize those sign-up bonuses.
Yeah, those are enticing.
Yes, they are.
But definitely stay tuned until the end because we're going to share the strategy we did with Points recently, and this had so many moving parts that some of you are going to relate for sure.
I know. So we have very different strategies if we're flying to Europe versus, I guess flying around the US.
Yeah, definitely a different experience. So for Europe, we try to always fly business class, at least for the long segment of our trip across the pond. But it's totally worth it because usually when we're traveling there, it is for business, and we do want to arrive rested so we can be ready to work.
And for those flights, we do time it out so that we leave the US at night so we get to Europe the following morning. So Budapest, where we're headed next, is 6 hours ahead of our time zone here in Florida.
So here are the specifics of what we did for these flights and some tricks on how we maximized our budget. And spoiler alert, these work best because we are doing carry-on only with our luggage.
So we don't have to worry about connections on that part of it. For this next trip, from the 6th of March until the 22nd, we are going to Europe. We're going to be in Budapest and Vienna and doing a cruise afterwards.
Yeah, so we did our research on all of our options, and international flights aren't that great out of Orlando.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, and business class was getting very pricey. So for our initial research, we used Google Flights. It searches all the airlines, so it makes it super easy to compare.
We ended up kind of piecing together some different segments, knowing that the flights out of New York going to Europe are way cheaper. So we decided to buy a separate ticket on the front end and the back end of the trip. So on the 6th, we go to JetBlue, Orlando to JFK. Here's where it gets a bit tricky. We converted our Capital One miles to Airline miles, which is Air Canada. We're flying a partner airline of Air Canada, and that is Singapore Airlines. We've never flown them before. And so we're going to fly them from JFK to Frankfurt, Germany.
And then we have a nice 2.5-hour layover in the best airport lounge ever. I love it over there. And then we go on Lufthansa, then we go to Budapest.
So this part of the ship is, again, a 3-day vacation with our business partner. The rest is really business, but again, travel is a fun business.
Yeah.
So on the 10th, we board a Riviera Cruises ship, the MS William Wordsworth in Budapest. Say that fast 3 times. This is a 2-night inaugural cruise up to Vienna where we transfer to another ship, the AMA Waterways Amalia.
Yeah, and so we're going to be there for 4 nights for our third Asta River Cruise Conference, and then we will stay on the ship for a 6-night cruise up the Danube that ends in Wilshofen, Germany.
Which basically means we're not going to be flying back out of Budapest. We're going to fly back from Munich. So on the way back, we are flying United for this, which is actually our 4th airline on this trip. And we only had enough miles to fly JFK to Budapest.
Yeah, so if you are doing a river cruise in Europe like we are, there may be a better airline price because you're going on a cruise. And that was the case with our United flight back to JFK. And then we hop back on JetBlue to return to Orlando.
So obviously a lot of moving parts on this one, and why you should definitely use a travel agent that knows how to piece these kind of trips together with all the complicated airfare.
Yeah, the easy and much more expensive way would have been to just book a kind of a multi-city ticket that did it all.
Which basically means you're going to fly from your home airport right to your end destination. In this case, this was Budapest. That means you're flying on the same airline. You leave here and you go there and you're flying the same airline the whole way.
Yeah, it does make it a little bit easier on paper, but really for us, the dollars were not making a sense at all.
I know. So again, this would cost us a lot more. Plus, we only use points, as I mentioned earlier, from the JFK to Budapest leg. Now, we did get a lower airfare on the way back because of the fact that we were on a cruise.
Yeah, and I was able, though, to use some of our JetBlue points.
We did, yeah.
For one of the legs going one of the ways. So we did, this really was a pieced together thing. Okay, so let's talk about what we're doing in May, though. Again, super complicated. We are doing a 4-night land-only trip with Royal Caribbean to experience their Alaska land tour. And it is so crazy. So after that, we're going to fly down to LA for 2 nights. We're going to stay over by Disney at the Grand Californian.
I love that resort.
I know.
I love it.
And then Rob had this brilliant idea that we're going to take a train from Anaheim to Santa Barbara for the Gogi Wine event with Kurt Russell,
who of course is a very close friend of ours. Okay, we met him a couple times. The other option, which we have done before, is rent a car in LA and make that kind of a long drive. So we decided we're going to take Amtrak from Anaheim. There's a station there. It takes us all the way to Santa Barbara, and we're going to see some beautiful countryside in California without having to drive.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But this one is interesting because we're going from Orlando to Anchorage, and then on our tour, we end up in Fairbanks. So then Fairbanks to Anaheim. Are you sticking with us?
No,
And then we get on the train. We go up to Santa Barbara to go up to the wine event. And then afterwards, we're going to fly from Santa Barbara back to Orlando. Lots of moving pieces there.
So normally we would have just rented a car or had the car the whole time and driven from Santa Barbara back to LAX and flown back. And we said, you know what? We're going to have to take a connection. We're not going to have, a direct flight. Let's just go ahead and fly out of Santa Barbara.
Yeah. So there you go. Crazy travels, but it didn't stress us out because we do know what we're doing.
Here are some of our top tips to help you with your plans if you want to use, the airline and mile point systems that we use.
So tip number 1, and here's the absolute key when it comes to earning miles, you have to pay off your credit card every month. Otherwise, the interest that you get charged will just kind of cancel out any of the benefits of getting the miles in the first place.
Yeah, it'll more than cancel those out. And I set an alarm. I think I pay my cards every 7 to 8 days, and I keep getting the miles, but I never, ever want to have to pay any interest again. That negates any of the benefits you get from these travel programs. So tip number 2, sign up for the different rewards programs for any airline that you may fly. And sometimes you can kind of double dip.
Yeah, I like that one. Tip number 3, and this one is hard for some of you, but do not check bags. If we can do it for over 2 weeks in Europe with both business and pleasure, you can do it too.
That is true. And now we go into tip number 4, which follows up on tip number 3. Buy good quality luggage. Both of our carry-on bags are Briggs & Riley, and as much as we travel, if something happens to them, we know that they have the lifetime 100% they'll fix it or replace it guarantee.
Yeah, pennies per use. Okay, and tip number 5 is transfer your points to an airline based on their partners and where you want to go. So for Europe, Aeroplan/Air Canada is what we used.
Also, learn from the experts. There are a lot of people who specialize in how to use these points. Find the one that you like and follow their advice.
Yeah, pretty simple. So we ourselves are going to continue to work on this strategy we're using to maximize our miles, our points, and our dollars, and we can't wait to share the results with you.
And please keep this in mind. We love planning vacations, not just for us, but for our clients as well. We'd love to help you on your next adventures.
Yeah, so please reach out to us or one of our Creating Magic Vacations travel agents, or just go and click the Plan a Vacation link that is in this show description.
Until then, we'll leave you with this. Start collecting passport stamps instead of things.
And never stop exploring.